Oh, it's all of the baking magic. Welcome back to Afternoon Express here on S3. We've baked it and we've made the icing and the filling, but staking cakes is a bit of a challenge. It's quite an architecture, trust me. Anma's here to tell us how to bring it all together and to really architect this architecture.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like building a building.
Well, that's what Vanessa said. It's like the concrete and this and that and that. Yeah.
It's all about structure. So, yeah, we have our sponges. I'm going to show you guys. So we want to cut our sponges level. I'm just going, I mean, I have done it a million times. I've got a trained eye. So in the cake decorating shop,
you made that seem so beautiful.
Lots of different types of gadgets that can help you. Cake levelers to cut your sponges level.
Ooh, precision.
But one of my philosophies is, especially home baking, if it's a little bit skew, nobody's going to know, and it's still going to taste delicious.
I always say it tastes the same in your stomach.
Are you going to try one?
Yeah,
you want to try? Okay,
I feel like we've spent so much time together. Hopefully it's rubbed off on me.
Right.
So I'm going to try to do the exact...
Vanessa, you're like eyeballing it.
Your knife flat.
Oh,
Go eye level. And then, guys, never throw... I call these cake hats, or in the cake industry at the moment, there's a funny thing going around. It's also a cake taco. So you can just put a bit of buttercream inside and eat it as a cake taco.
So what do you do with it? What do you do with that?
So...
I did it!
Amazing, beautiful. So, in the book, there's a whole chapter on what to do with your offcuts. So you can use these and make little cake bonbons. You can make cake pops, which is a bit like a cakesicle.
I love that.
Yeah, so never throw these away. Pop them in the freezer.
A lot of concentration.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I was actually going to say cake pops.
And that's made with offcuts.
So then we can just mash it all up, get a stick.
Bit of buttercream to bind it, and this becomes a beautiful ingredient to use and no wastage. So the next step for us, I always pour a bit of syrup over my sponges. Okay. It's a guarantee that the cake is going to be lovely and moist, and it's also a way of adding more flavor. So if it's a lemon cake, I would add a lemon syrup. You can do a coffee syrup. You can, but across the board, vanilla syrup works really well. So I make big batches of these and I keep it in the fridge, and then you literally just liberally soak your sponge.
So as you are soaking the sponge, I mean, I'm literally seeing the syrup being soaked up by that sponge. If you are wanting to make this syrup from scratch, what goes into it? So
it's equal amounts of sugar and water with vanilla, but there's also a whole chapter in the book that covers this.
Just get the book. Just get the book, basically. So, okay, and then you put that on the stove, you heat it up,
cook it for a few minutes, and you let it cool. Our next step is to stack this guy. So I've got a turntable here. Many different versions exist. You do not need this, but it's certainly, if you're serious about cake making, it makes your life much easier.
I mean, as soon as you spun that, I got flashbacks of the club. I was transported back to my clubbing days. No, but it's not about being a DJ, ticky anymore. No, we're being a DJ master, creating beautiful cakes.
Exactly. So we're going to pop, I've got a little cake board here. It just makes it easier to pick up your cake afterwards and handle it. So I place all my cakes on a little cake board. We've got our vanilla buttercream that we made earlier. And then, we have our creamy vanilla filling, which is the roux-based one.
Correct.
If you can pop that same as we did earlier over the vase. You'll never forget this thing.
Let's see if you was paying attention.
Let's see if I was actually present here. Okay, cool.
I'm just cutting this piping bag tip off. And then we're going to create what I essentially call, and in the book you'll see I talk about the wall. So the wall is exactly as it says, a little edge of buttercream, a wall of buttercream. And as you see, I'm just slightly moving the turntable, so I'm not doing much work. I'm not forcing it. The pressure stays exactly the same all the way around. And by turning on the turntable, it makes it quite an easy
Bali, could you give it a go?
I have to.
Okay?
I have to.
Let's do.
You literally... Okay, I was paying attention. You didn't move this hand at all. The only hand that moved...
Yep. So you place on the corner where you want it to pipe. Okay. And then you literally just... Don't go too fast. Slow. There we go.
Oh, this is...
Yeah. Not going
It's one of those things you simply can't afford to mess it up.
No, but you can easily fix it if you do.
How could you fix it? What would you do to fix it?
Oh, you can just scrape it off and redo it.
But then isn't it going to be messy? Like?
No. People don't know what's going on the inside.
Underneath. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, no, this actually is easy. I've always considered myself more of a cook than a baker, but you've made this so simple and so easy to follow. I mean, it's iconic.
And then, yeah, so if you didn't have a turntable, you can also do the coiling where you just let it drop. And my pressure is coming from the top. I'm not squeezing with this hand, I'm squeezing with this hand equally at the same speed and at the same pressure.
I'm all of a sudden not that impressed with my turntable skills because if you can see the difference, can you see how even and smooth Uma Wilding's icing is? And mine is all clumpy and fun, but I guess no one knows what's happening inside.
Yep.
So, I need a scissor. Let's quickly find out there it is. This is now the filling. So you'll see we've left one of the sponges free because essentially that's going to become the hat. Okay. So this guy is going to be the upside down one at the top, which is automatically going to give you a flat top of the cake.
You know, we call this a masterclass for a reason because we're all learning and already automatically my brain was like, okay, then this first one has to be upside down because it's going to be even, it's going to be level at the top.
I'm adding a bit of jam. Really tart little raspberry jam. Always goes really well with vanilla.
Your jam even looks like upper echelon.
Yeah, I do love a bit of
what
jam
did you use, if not jam, for a similar recipe?
You can use salted caramel sauce. You can make a lemon curd, any citrus curd, grapefruit or orange. Recipes obviously are all in my book. So this recipe really can change into many, many different versions of a cake.
Absolutely.
And also it doesn't stay with raspberry jam. It can be marmalade, it can be strawberry jam, it can be blueberry jam. And that also dictates what you can put on top of the cake. So if you use blueberry jam inside, for this one, I'll go a pink route because it's a raspberry jam.
So the pairing.
This is my creamy vanilla. You can see why it's got that title. Looks super creamy and light and fluffy. You can almost hear it popping.
I can.
But
I can.
It's very velvety as well. Very, very
smooth.
Silky.
Just coiling them like this.
How much is too much?
How much is too much?
How much?
Anything more than this is too much. So we're trying to stay nice and level because we're now going to start putting the layers on top of each other. And if it's not level, then you're going to start dealing with a bit of wonkiness. But as I say also, even if your cake is a bit wonky, that's a quote, it's still going to stay delicious. So
I love that.
So now this is called stacking the cake. So there's an entire chapter. This whole thing
I saw it.
Is in the book as a chapter, from the sponges straight through to stacking it into a cake.
It's a big chapter.
Yeah, it also seems as if
covers a lot.
You've made a cookbook that is, or rather a baking recipe book, that is a one-stop shop. Has that always been something that has been a goal of yours, something that you want to achieve? Some way that I just need to do one purchase, make one purchase, and everything when it comes to baking is in there.
Yeah. I think it was my goal for the book because I love teaching and I love showing people how to do it. And because people are so interested in baking and everybody does it differently. So it's not to say that my way is the correct way, but this is how I do it.
It is the correct way.
And it works for me. You'll see I've just smoothed out the sides a little bit, smoothing out the top. And then as you go, because we're dealing with a soft situation, you just need to see that you're staying nice and level as you go.
Because I suppose if you do add a lot of pressure at the top, it could
it's pushing it out. Yeah. And then this is the last little one that we spoke about, which now goes upside down. And then I'm just going to fill the little gap a bit.
Anma, how do you then keep it stable when it's all done, that it doesn't go...
Once this is done, I'm going to put a bit of cling film around it, and then it's going into the fridge for about half an hour. It has to set before you reach the next step.
Please do get the recipe and your hands on the recipe on afternoonexpress.co.za.
Now, Anma is ready to show us how to put the finishing touches onto her beautiful cake. So let's decorate.